This is lesson 5, week 5 of 52 of our Through the Bible study. Today we're going to cover Genesis 48 through Exodus 18. Last time we saw God place the descendants of Jacob, whom God renamed Israel, into ideal conditions in Egypt while a worldwide famine devastated other nations. And Joseph fell upon his father's face and wept upon him and kissed him, and commanded his servants, the physicians, to embalm his father. My father made me swear, saying, Lo, I die in my grave which I have digged for me in the land of Canaan, there shalt thou bury me. Pharaoh said, Go up and bury thy father. For his sons carried him into the land of Canaan, and buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah, which Abraham bought. And Joseph returned into Egypt, he and his brethren, and all that went up with him to bury his father. Genesis 50, verses 1, 2, 5, 6, 13, and 14. After their father's burial in Canaan, the sons feared Joseph might turn on them with revenge for what they did to him, but he responded, But as for you, you thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good, to bring to pass, as it is this day, to save much people alive. Now therefore fear ye not. He comforted them and spoke kindly to them. Genesis 50, 20, and 21. And Joseph dwelt in Egypt, he and his father's house, and Joseph lived 110 years. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I die, and God will surely visit you, and bring you out of this land unto the land which he sware to Abraham, Isaac, and to Jacob. You shall carry up my bones from thence. So Joseph died, and they embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Egypt. Genesis 50, 22 through 26. Jacob's family, consisting of 70 souls, had come from Canaan because of the famine, and God kept them there until they were all dead. What will God do now? And the children of Israel were fruitful, increased abundantly, and multiplied, and the land was filled with them. Exodus 1:7. In the peace and safety of Egypt, God was carrying out his promise to Abraham that Israel would be a plenteous nation, but that caused concern with a new Pharaoh who did not know the good Joseph had done for the Egyptians, and he was concerned for their size. Exodus 1, 8 and 9. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. Exodus 1, 11 and 12. Did the Israelites like this treatment? No, but it was a time when God was growing their nation and giving them reason to want to leave Egypt when he called them to do so. Because the Israelites were greatly increasing, Pharaoh conspired to decrease their birth rate by killing each Hebrew baby boy. Exodus 1:16. But it didn't work. But the midwives feared God and did not, as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. Exodus 1:17. Pharaoh retaliated. Every son that is born you shall cast into the river, and every daughter you shall save. Exodus 1:22. But that would not stop God in carrying out the next phase of his plan. The woman conceived and bare a son, a goodly child. She hid him 3 months, and when she could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes and put the child therein. Exodus 2:1 and 2. And the daughter of Pharaoh saw the ark. She sent her maid to fetch it, and when she opened it, she saw the child. She had compassion on him and said, "This is one of the Hebrew children." 2:5 and 6. The Hebrew baby was spared because of the mercy of Pharaoh's daughter, who claimed him as her own, calling him Moses, because I drew him out of the water. Exodus 2:9 and 10. As babies do, Moses grew up and eventually noticed the burden on his own people. 2:11. And he spied an Egyptian smiting a Hebrew. He saw there was no man. He slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought Moses, but Moses fled and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. Exodus 2, verse 12. Now the priest of Midian, whose name was Jethro, had 7 daughters, and Moses was content to dwell with the man. And he gave Moses Zipporah, his daughter, and she bare him a son, Gershon. Exodus 2:16, 21, and 22. Moses had safely fled the angry Pharaoh to the land of Midian and given refuge, a wife, and a son. But things were not going well for the Israelites in Egyptian bondage, who cried out to God, who heard their prayer. Exodus 2:23 through 25. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert, and he came to the mountain of God, even Horeb, also known as Mount Sinai. Exodus 3, verse 1. God had Moses alone and now would reveal to him the plans and purposes concerning Israel. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. The bush was not consumed. Exodus 3:1 and 2. As Moses turned to look at it, Christ spoke to him. Moses, Moses, here I am. Draw not nigh hither. Put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Moses hid his face. He was afraid to look upon God. Exodus 3:4 through 6. God identified himself to Moses and what his plans were for the Israelites. I have surely seen the afflictions of my people which are in Egypt, by reason of the taskmasters. I know their sorrow, and I am come down to deliver them, and to bring them up out of the land unto a good land, and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites. Exodus 3:7 and 8. Okay, but what does that have to do with Moses, since he has already escaped Pharaoh? Come now, therefore, and I will send thee, Moses, unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. Exodus 3:10. And immediately Moses agreed, right? No. Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh? And then God said, I will be with thee. Exodus 3:11 and 12. Only after God told Moses he would be with him did Moses agree to go to Egypt, but he had one more concern. When I come unto the children of Israel, and they shall say unto me, what is his name? What shall I say unto them? And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. I am hath sent me to you. Exodus 3:11 through 14. When God asks you to do something and you say, I can't, would it make any difference to know that Christ is with you? Paul writes in Colossians 1:27, to whom God would make known what is the riches of the glory of this mystery among the Gentiles, which is Christ in you, the hope of glory. And the Lord said unto Moses, when thou goest to return into Egypt, see that thou do all those wonders before Pharaoh, which I have put in thy hand. 4:21. And Moses and Aaron went and gathered together all the elders of the children of Israel. And Aaron spoke all the words which the Lord had spoken unto Moses, and did the signs in the sight of the people. And the people believed. They bowed their heads, and they worshipped. 4:29 through 31. 1 Corinthians 1:22. The Jews require a sign. The Israelites believed God. Now it was up to Moses to convince Pharaoh to release the Hebrew captives. And afterward Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, let my people go, that they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness. 5:1. Pharaoh's reaction was to increase the burden on the Hebrews. Let there more work be laid upon the men, that they may labor therein. You shall no more give the people straw to make brick. Let them go and gather straw for themselves. So the people were scattered abroad throughout all the land of Egypt to gather stubble instead of straw, and the taskmasters hated them. Exodus 5:9 through 13. Now God will use signs and wonders to convince Pharaoh that he is the great I am. And Moses and Aaron went in unto Pharaoh, and they did so as the Lord commanded them. And Aaron cast down his rod, and it became a serpent. Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and sorcerers. They also did in like manner. But Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods, and he hardened Pharaoh's heart, that he hearkened not unto them, as the Lord had said. Exodus 7:10 through 12. And Moses and Aaron did so, as the Lord commanded them. And he lifted up the rod, and smote the waters that were in the river, were turned to blood. Pharaoh's heart was hardened, neither did he hearken unto them, as the Lord had said. Exodus 7:20. Let my people go, and if thou refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all the borders with frogs. Exodus 8:1. Stretch out thy rod, and smite the dust of the land, that it may become lice throughout all the land of Egypt. 8:16. A swarm of flies. 8:21. Finally, Pharaoh relented. I will let you go, that you may sacrifice to the Lord your God in the wilderness. Only you shall not go very far away. 8:28. But he lied. And Pharaoh hardened his heart at this time also, neither would he let the people go. Exodus 8:32. And the Lord did that thing on the morrow, and all the cattle of Egypt died, but of the cattle of the children of Israel died not one. Exodus 9:6. The sixth judgment, boils on man and beast. 9:10. The seventh judgment, hail. 9:22. The eighth judgment, locusts. 10:13. Through all these judgments of God, Pharaoh remained firm. Why? But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart so that he would not let the children of Israel go. Exodus 10:20. The ninth judgment, darkness. 10:22. They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days. But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. 10:23. Again Pharaoh seemed to relent. Go ye serve the Lord, only let your flocks and your herds be stayed. 10:24. Moses refused the offer and again, but the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let them go. Exodus 10:27. Yet will I bring one more plague upon Pharaoh and upon Egypt. Afterwards he will let you go hence. When he shall let you go, you shall surely thrust you out hence altogether. Exodus 11, verse 1. God's last plague on Egypt would ensure the release of the entire nation of the Hebrew people from their captivity all at once. And Moses said, Thus saith the Lord, about midnight will I go out in the midst of Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sitteth on his throne, even unto the firstborn of maidservant that is behind the mill, and all the firstborn of the beasts. And there shall be great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there was none like it, nor shall be like it any more. Exodus 11, 4 through 6. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be to you the beginning of the months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, without blemish, a male, of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep. Keep it until the 14th day, and shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take the blood, and strike it on the 2 side posts, and on the upper doorposts of the houses, wherein they shall eat it, roast with fire, and unleavened bread, and bitter herbs. Exodus 12, 1 through 8. This Passover was a picture of the sacrificial offering of the Lord Jesus Christ, which would not ensue for another 1450 years. And the blood shall be to you for a token, or a type, upon the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy, when I smite the land of Egypt. Exodus 12:13. During the dispensation of the grace of God, our faith is in the shed blood of Christ and that it will spare us from the judgment of God. When he sees Christ's blood, his judgment will pass over us, but not for those who believe not. For even our Passover lamb is sacrificed for us. 1 Corinthians 5:7. And it came to pass that at midnight the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on the throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle. For there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one death. Exodus 12:29. God kept his word and carried out the 10th judgment on Egypt, but every Hebrew house was spared when he saw blood. Why had God hardened Pharaoh's heart not to let his people go until this time? God had waited to reveal the 10th plague to show believers, the Jews, and unbelievers, the Egyptians alike, that salvation resides in God alone, and that one day a Redeemer was coming, one who would die for the sins of all. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, and he called Moses and Aaron by night, and said, Rise up and get you forth from among my people, both ye and the children of Israel, and go serve the Lord, as you have said, that you might send them out of the land in haste, took their dough before it was leavened, and the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses. Exodus 12:30 and 31. In haste, the Israelites left Egypt, beginning the first part of their journey. And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men. 12:37 and 38. Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years. Exodus 12:40. And Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had straitly sworn the children of Israel, saying, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry my bones away hence with you. Exodus 13:19. Joseph's request was fulfilled. And they took their journey from Succoth and encamped in Etham in the edge of the wilderness. And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud, and by night in a pillar of fire. 13:20 and 21. Speaking to the children of Israel, that they turn and encamp by the Red Sea. 14:2. But the Egyptians pursued after them, and his army overtook them encamping by the sea. And they, the Israelites, were sore afraid, and the children of Israel cried out to the Lord. Exodus 14:9 and 10. The people had already begun to murmur when Moses told them to fear not, and that the Lord shall fight for you. 14:13 and 14. But lift thou up thy rod, and stretch out thy hand over the sea, and divide it. And the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. Exodus 14:16. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. Stretch out thy hand over the sea, that the waters may come again upon the Egyptians. 14:22 and 26. Israel was saved. The Egyptians destroyed. The people shall hear and be afraid. Sorrow shall take hold on the inhabitants of Palestina. Exodus 15:14. Word of God's great miracles spread quickly, so that the inhabitants of Canaan began to fear the God of Moses. Next, God led the Israelites to the wilderness of Shur, and after 3 days had no water. 15:22. The water in Marah was bitter, so the people began to murmur. 15:24. But God turned it into sweet water. 15:25. They traveled on to Elim, into the wilderness of Sin, and again they murmured. 16:1 and 2. Would to God we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt. You have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill the whole assembly with hunger. Exodus 16:3. God's response? Then said the Lord unto Moses, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you. 16:4. And when the dew that lay was gone up, there lay a small round thing on the ground. It is manna. It was like coriander seed, white, and the taste of it was like wafers made with honey. 16:14, 15, and 31. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. He giveth you on the 6th day the bread of 2 days. So the people rested on the 7th day. 16:23 through 30. Israel journeyed on to Rephidim, where they again murmured. This time God told Moses to smite the rock, which produced fresh water. 17:6 and 7. Then Israel appears at the mountain of God, but next time, why were the 10 Commandments placed in a coffin? We're going to study Exodus 19 through 39.